Words are important. They have meaning. And when you use words in a sentence like goal setting, strategic plan, vision, mission, they can mean different things to different people. So let's be sure to clarify what we mean when we use them in a sentence. In defining these terms, as we will be applying them, it will help you stay on target in your coaching ministry. So stay true to the definitions. Vision is the person you wish to become, the place you want to get to. It's a description of the future that you most wish to achieve. It's future-focused. It's what you want, not what you are. Vision drives your mission forward. Vision becomes the target you aim for. It should be summarized by a short statement that is more fully explained in a broader document, like the slogan for our vision is to restore chaplaincy and life coaching to gospel-centered Christianity, but there's more. Mission is what you will do. It describes your purpose. Jesus gave a short and clear mission statement in Matthew 28, didn't he? Saying, make disciples by baptizing and teaching. It's pretty simple. But the strategy and the means for accomplishing this is all laid out in a much larger New Testament context. The book of Acts paints the picture of how the early church accomplished the mission and what they came to look like as a result of it as it was achieved. You should be able to state your mission in a slogan that summarizes a broader statement. Ours is make a friend, be a friend, draw your friend to Christ. But there's a much larger document. Goal setting is represented by SMART goals, which must always be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-sensitive. Your vision provides the picture of your life as hoped for in, say, 5 or 10 years. But you'll not be able to accomplish everything in a week. SMART goals help you take that long-term vision, break it down into smaller, bite-sized pieces, and then get to work. So ask yourself and your client, what must I accomplish in the next year? How can I divide that into quarterly goals that can be scheduled into my regular weekly tasks? And then use your quarterly SMART goal worksheet to plan out the things that you will do each week for the next quarter. Check off the things that are completed, carry over the uncompleted things to the next quarter, rinse and repeat. Keep going. A strategic plan is a document that includes your vision, mission, quarterly SMART goals, along with a list of the big things you need to do and the way you plan to accomplish those big things, broken down into bite-sized pieces. Strategy must be part of the process too. What will your strategy be for making progress? What will you do when you're faced with an obstacle? Your plan of attack is what will help you navigate around such things and keep you on target. And don't ever forget the importance of self-care, my friends. Don't forget it. Take a break, do a retreat, take a vacation, have some fun. We know that none of these documents will be worth a single hill of beans without self-awareness, stepping out of denial, accepting reality, and recognizing the changes that must take place inside each and every one of us before we can ever make progress at moving forward toward our destination. In our follow-through, what we do is we gain skill, we get stronger, we learn new habits, we learn from our mistakes, and we move from incompetence to competence. It takes time to make progress. And from our standpoint as Christian coaches, this must include our relationship with God through Christ. Just how is it, my dear friend, between you and God right now? Once you have done all the hard work and genuine self-reflection that is needed, and you have a clear mission and vision, and you're ready to start moving forward, well, that becomes the time to start making actions. Actions speak louder than words. Unless there's consistent dedication to actual progress, the person will end up where they started in the first place, never getting off the starting line, stuck in a rut. Your job, starting with yourself, is to coach people for action, to get moving, to start doing, to get stronger, to be encouraged, to learn. Don't quit. Keep going. You can do it. Take your time. Do it right. You have the rest of your life. In fact, you have all the time God gave you, so stay focused and eliminate distractions. My dear friend and aspiring coach, this is about your client's vision. It can never be your vision for them. Getting to this point of action, that's the fun part. Up to this point, people are generally excited to talk about their dreams and work toward a clear vision and a mission. But talking about it with someone who is genuinely interested and encouraging, it can be very motivating and exciting. Idea generation and implementation, though, are very different activities. Most people can get very enthusiastic when they're talking about these things, but most of them fail to follow through with the steps needed every day to act on them. Your job will be, as best as you're able, to keep your client from becoming spit in a hot skillet. And how do we get there from here is the question. This is where strategy and goal setting must come into play. And just like an aspiring athlete, having the plan is not the same thing as spending time every day in the gym doing the hard work and the heavy lifting. Transitioning from ideas to action takes self-discipline, which is an act of will. And goals are crucial. So use the SMART Goals template that we provided. Be specific about the things that need to be accomplished over the next 90 days and get them done. And then move on to the next quarter and do it again, making steady progress quarter after quarter, year after year towards goal achievement. Don't worry about failing or failure. Just carry things over and don't quit. In goal setting, you and your client are coming face to face with reality and seeing more clearly the things that actually need to change. And you can help your client the most in setting SMART goals by brainstorming with them. But be careful not to give them their goals or to prescribe the approach that you might use or think they should take. Let them define these things for themselves. They won't ever take ownership of your goals. They will only own the goals they set for themselves. The SMART Goals worksheet will help you work through the 7 steps of goal setting, which are laid out by Dr. Collins on page 207. And these 7 steps are important, and they're as follows. Step 1, describe the desired outcome. The client must clarify and agree on those expected results. Step 2 is write it down. It can always be changed or revised later, can't it? But write down the results that are being hoped for. Step 3, starting with the desired end result, which is the vision, you work backwards from there with your client and you brainstorm about possible interim short-term goals that, if they accomplish them steadily over time, it will move them a little closer to the target. Step 4 is help them make an agreement on which specific short-term goals that they will pursue over the next 90 days, and then help them keep from getting distracted by doing something else. And step 5 is have your client list these interim goals from most important to least important and from most realistic to least realistic. This will help them come up with a plan for success rather than failure. Don't let them bite off more than they can chew in the next 90 days. Taking on too much is a recipe for failure. Step 6 is to write down specific indicators of success. How will you know that the goal was accomplished? Step 7, put it all on paper. And that is what the SMART Goals template is for. Learn to use it on yourself first and then help your clients do the same. Unless you're practicing it yourself, you won't ever be able to help anyone else do it either. So these goals that we set, they're fluid. They're not set in cement. Things change. Circumstances change. Clients can change their minds. And that's perfectly okay. They do not have to stick with the goal just because they thought it was important enough to write it down some time ago. And we hardly ever see the truly big picture until we get a little closer to it, so things will change. As with God, plans can grow and evolve in us over time. It's perfectly fine to change or replace the goal with something else. That's the beauty of engaging in this goal-setting step every 90 days. And as a certified Christian coach, we have to learn to practice what we preach. So if you are undisciplined and inconsistent, and you lack the steady follow-through needed for making progress, how will you ever be able to coach anyone else to do these things as well? We expect our coaches. They will do what they say. We expect our coaches to be engaged with all of these strategies and goal-setting techniques as a way of living. Otherwise, you will fail. And then stretching is important. Don't forget that either. Just as an athlete will stretch out those muscles before engaging in strenuous physical activity, so too should you encourage your client to stretch before working on those goals. The goal of stretching is simply to help the client understand that their current level of readiness is really not very ready. As Dr. Collins said, stretching lets people see that their current knowledge and skills and actions aren't likely to take them much further than where they are already. The technique we use to help them stretch is through asking seriously curious questions that challenge them to go deeper in their thinking. As a coach, you encourage them to be imaginative and creative, unafraid, and to dream out loud, without judgment, about their most hoped-for future. Hardly anyone gives people permission to talk about these things. They're afraid to talk about them. And that's where you come in. Learn to ask questions that begin with the things that we might say like, what if? Or why couldn't you? Or let's think about what would happen if, and we need to. Your goal in asking these types of questions is simply to help the client open new pathways and to consider other options. It will help them get unstuck. In summary, this lecture has discussed a process to help your client figure out how they will get there from here. We clarified the terms we use in Christian coaching. We help a client move forward through getting a strategy, setting a commitment to SMART goals, and stretching their mind through the use of good questions that make them think things through. The next lecture is going to consider the all-important step of taking action. After all, without action, coaching becomes useless.